Hi everyone, it's Annalisa from In the Hidden Kingdom. Welcome. So I want to answer a question that came up from one of my subscribers. And the question is, how do you neutralize the energy? And this is a great question because this is really important in this connection in order to have your divine masculine come back in, because your divine masculine cannot come back in if your energy is really high, right? So you want to neutralize the energy. And remember, this is one soul energetic field, right? So it's one energetic field and one soul, although it appears as though there is another person there. However, you're sharing the same soul. So the divine feminine is responsible for balancing the energy, but you cannot balance the energy unless you neutralize it first. So how do you bring down your energetic field? And you do that by really working on your core wounds and transmuting that energy and alchemizing that energy into love. And this is a process. So as your other self is triggering you, and or other situations and people are triggering you, because it isn't just about your other person, your masculine, triggering you. There could be many situations where you can be triggered, and the key is to know what to do with those triggers. So not only do you have to neutralize the energy by, again, releasing those core wounds, it's also about how to not fall into those triggers where you are in that state of those triggers being awakened again. In other words, those core wounds being affected again, because anytime that you're triggered, there's a lesson there to be learned. However, if you get stuck in that trigger and those core wounds are being brought up again, then you have to again figure out why that's happening, have awareness that you're being triggered. Not necessarily, I say why, but you don't always have to know all the details of why it's being triggered. What's important is to be able to acknowledge the trigger, have awareness of it, not judge it, be the observer of the mind. And then once you do that, you can release and transmute and alchemize. And I know that sounds complicated, but it's not as complicated as it sounds. So that is how you neutralize the energy, because this is really important, and you can stay stuck and not be in soul, which is where you want to be. And I remember, when I say be in soul, it isn't a destination that you want to get to, because if you think this is a destination, then you have an expectation. And if you have an expectation, you cannot bring in your divine masculine. Remember, this journey is not about bringing in your divine masculine. This journey is about you and living in your truth and being the highest version of you. It's all about you. So anytime that you have that idea of your divine masculine being separate and you're feeding that energy, it's going to keep you stuck. So neutralize the energy where you are neutral, where you have, it doesn't matter whether your divine masculine comes in or they leave. Or maybe you were in union for a month or two and everything seemed great, and then they left again, but it doesn't affect you anymore. And that's how you're neutralized. That's an example of how you are neutralized, because if they left, that means that you were somehow in push energy. You're focusing too much on them and they will leave. So you want to come back into that state of neutralizing your energy, because it's one energy. In reality, there is no separate person. Although they are a separate person, the energy is the same. And the mind always wants to believe that they are separate, that there's a separate twin flame person there. But really, there is no separate twin flame person. It's you. So really, they are an illusion. And I know you don't want to hear that. The mind does not want to hear that. But neutralize the energy by releasing your core wounds, by being in soul. And being in soul means being in the present moment and not worrying about what happened an hour ago, a year ago, and not having anxiety about anything in the future, about when your divine masculine's coming back in, or anything in your life about the future. And I know that that is a whole different way of living, but that is what it means to be in soul. And I can do another video on being in soul, as I can go on for a long time about being in soul, but I just want to touch base on neutralizing the energy. So it also depends where you're at on this journey, like where's your energy and how long have you been on the journey as well. So if you need more detailed or more specific on your energy, don't hesitate to book a session with me on my website. I do have one-on-one sessions as well, where I can kind of feel where you are energetically and then guide you as to where you are on this journey. I also have a group on Facebook, Twin Flames Journey of Self. I have a course with a lot of videos and meditations also, and really what this whole journey is all about. So the course is very detailed as well. So don't hesitate to go in there and see what resonates. But this journey, yes, you do have to neutralize the energy, but you also have to remember that detox comes first. You have to completely detox from your divine masculine in order to neutralize the energy. And I do have other videos where I did talk about detox, but sometimes the detox, there's always somewhere where you may be leaking. So that one-on-one really helps me understand where you're at and where you may be leaking as well. But detox is also a big part of before neutralizing that energy. So yeah, there's nothing easy about this journey, is there? But once you understand the journey and you understand that it is one soul and that is simply energetic and getting out of the mind, that is a big part of this journey, then you begin to flow on this journey, and it's not as difficult as it may seem. It can be very painful when you're stuck in pain and you're letting your mind take over, and you're especially in the beginning part, you're in the dark night of the soul. It can be very painful, and everyone goes through, I'm going to say mostly 98% go through that dark night of the soul. And I know how painful that can be when you're in that addictive energy and wanting to just be with your twin flame and really pushing your energy towards them. So it does get easier. So once you start implementing some of the strategies that I talk about, then it does become easier. So yeah, I hope this helps. I'm sending you all so much love.